Good morning. Hello, Brew Crew. I'm Eric, N1JUR, and I'm a big hot mess this morning, but I'm with my co-host.
And I'm Shannon, KC1OHT here at Hamvention or 2 Echo Zero Oscar Hotel Tango at the RSGB convention, which I won't be at.
Either way, yeah, she's in multiple places, multiple times. It's all, all through the magic of the internet, as they say. So, yes, Shannon is that is a true background. She is at the hotel right now, but in essence, still in Dayton. So she is physically residing there, occupying, space there, and she'll be at the convention a little later. But we'll catch into that a second or two. I want to welcome everybody there in the chat. Looks like we got the usual crew rolling in. And so we'll jump to them in a couple minutes. But for those that, are listening in on the live stream, listening in on, say, the podcast there, well, welcome to Brew Activate. If you're one of those folks that's into POTA, or you enjoy, getting into the portable activation scene, then you're in the right place. This is where we get into talking about the wins, the slow days, the weird stuff, which is a lot of, and lessons you only learn by doing. So, with that, how are you doing, Shannon? Let's just start with you for right now, since I need to get my crap together.
Well, I made it here to Hamvention with Miles. Yesterday, Wednesday, and Thursday were like quite the day, right? I woke up at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, got Miles off to school. I still had to go to Walmart and shop for packing essentials. I spent way too long doing that because I'm a horrible procrastinator and I just didn't want to deal with packing. So then I, spent a few hours throwing clothes together, packing, and tried to take a nap for a little bit. That didn't really work out. So left the house around like 10:30 on Wednesday night and got here to Ohio around, 1 o'clock in the afternoon after driving for 15 hours and being awake for 31 hours. So that was my last 2 days. I did manage to get a nap in for a couple hours from like 2 to 4 until Miles woke me up and he was like, "Mom, I'm hungry. I want dinner." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this kid." So we went out, got Chipotle because you can only stay someplace where there's a Chipotle nearby. I don't know what we're gonna do when we're in England because I hear they don't have Chipotle there. So come on. I thought England was supposed to be so civilized. You guys need to get Chipotle over there. But that's okay.
Just for your sanity.
Yes. And Miles' sanity too. So we brought the food back. We ate. I was then able to take a nap for a couple hours, took a shower, got all freshened up, and went over to the 4 days in May vendor night, which was super fun and exciting. Got to see lots of friends, old and new. Got to see some different products and items from people. Got to see my good friend Aaron of Modern Morse with his amazing Morse keys. Got to see Tio with his little digital interfaces, which were so cool. Got to see the POTA Cat people over there. So, and DX Engineering was there, and Spool Tenna was there, and, all the cool kids were there. Paul and I were on Ham Shack TV for a while.
Yeah, wrecking the show, is from what I heard. But you definitely you brought the level of entertainment up for sure on that show. It sounded like as I was bouncing in and out, I just happened to catch you guys when you were handed the microphones, and so it definitely added to some fun, entertaining content. Sure.
Well, that's what we're all about. We're all about the entertaining content. So
it looks like we had a question for you since you were already there. I think it was Jerry who posted it. He was like, "What's the best hotel for the Hamfest? What's your take on it? You've done a couple different ones, or this one you always use every year?"
No, well, this is my second year in a row coming to Hamvention. This is my second year in a row staying at this particular hotel. It's the Country Inn and Suites in South Dayton. Not sponsored, but if they want to sponsor me, I will certainly not say no to that. But yeah, we had a great experience when we stayed here last year. They have a nice little continental breakfast downstairs. The rooms are clean. It feels very safe. The staff is extremely friendly. And there's obviously some other ham radio operators staying here because I see, the antennas in the parking lot. So I highly recommend this hotel.
No.
And it's not that far from the fairground. It's only like maybe 20 minutes away from the fairground.
Cool. Well, then that definitely sounds like a good sweet spot for sure. And, is it
And
pretty packed there or no?
here at the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine they're probably sold out for the convention. In fact, I think they are because I think I looked at their website and I think it did say that they were sold out. And when we got back from the 4 days in May event last night, like the parking lot was kind of a little full. I had to drive around the building a little bit. I couldn't get, a spot right out front, but that's okay. I'm young. I can walk.
Yes, you can.
I was afraid Miles was going to fall asleep in the car though, because when we were driving over there at like 7 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, for anyone that knows Miles, they know that he doesn't go to bed until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, right? But you could tell he must have been tired because when we were driving over to the DoubleTree in Fairborn, he was falling asleep in the car. And I was like, kid, you can't be falling asleep. We got, we're going to be walking around. We're going to be meeting people, talking to people. So he did last a few hours over there at the DoubleTree in the chaos of the vendor night. And he got a DX Engineering catalog he was very excited about. He was like, Mom, I think you should read this book on stream. I'm like, it's not a book you can read. It's a catalog.
Seems like the hotel's trying to get a hold of you.
Listen, yeah, they're probably trying to tell me that my package is here. So, but listen, let me tell you one thing, okay? I don't know, this is sort of a little bit off topic, but does anybody here go on YouTube? And I'm getting all these suggestions now of these things where people flip through old catalogs. So it's like J.C. Penney, Sears from like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and you're looking at like all the different fashion and all the different things that they have for sale. Miles, you want to answer that phone and tell them, they're going to say the package is here, say thank you so much, we'll be right down and get it. You could probably even go pick it up for me.
They might need ID.
They know him already at the front desk.
He's already established himself. Excellent. Very cool. Yeah, it sounds. I do remember the old days of the Sears catalog. I spent many a time as a kid thumbing through that thing, all leading up to Christmas, and very much either rip pages out or circled in big bold marker what I wanted.
Well, yeah. So now so like I said, I'm getting these suggestions on YouTube of people looking through the old catalogs, and it is like a great way to see what like the everyday fashion or everyday home styles of people were in the past. So, maybe I could make a YouTube video of like flipping through a DX Engineering catalog, like even looking for old ones, right? Like let me find an old Radio Shack catalog and flip through that and seeing the change in technology between what they had on offer in the 70s or 80s versus what we have on offer for ham radio today. So it could be a great little piece of like ham radio history.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. I have to say I spent with the Sears catalog, but the Toys R Us catalog was always a blast. I mean, that wasn't thick enough growing up as a kid. I mean, it had to be like jam-packed with like every toy because they didn't have online. That was our online, but we got to drool over those pages daily.
Well, and I know Amazon, I think, did send out a they sent out a toy catalog. Excuse me for 1 second. I think Miles is now knocking on the hotel room door. I don't know what's going on. I gave him a key.
Well,
so carry on with the show. That's enough of like my little niche. I love history in general. So if I can connect history to ham radio and connect two things together that I love, I don't know, that just scratches my like female autistic itch in the perfect way.
Well, there you have it. We're getting into the deep corners of the internet and living history here. So yeah, just gonna say hello to a few folks there in the chat since she's off getting Miles back in the room. Good to see you in there, Sean, Peter Jackhole, and Shannon as well. I saw Kyle in there, and I'm trying to think who else I see in here as well. That's all I got on my end. Good to see all you guys.
Da,
Thank you
da,
again. I know
da.
the official box. So yes, the goodies have arrived at a expense that my wallet is hurting at, but that had to be done. All good. And so yeah, we've got a bunch of folks. I know there's a slew of streamers already, doing stuff from Dayton. For Friday, I was on Prep
Yeah.
and Paul's
I
a
was
little
gonna say,
earlier.
when I just clicked on to open up the YouTube chats, I saw that Prep Ham Paul was on. So, I might actually even go live walking around. I haven't decided yet, but
Okay.
I did get a vlogging camera that has the ability to go live, and I have my phone and I have my DJI gimbal. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you heard it here.
If you're not subscribed to me, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Yeah, like she said,
I-
definitely
Yeah,
help her out.
I think that's how the really cool YouTubers say it, right?
I don't know. When I figure out how to be really cool, I'll let you know. So very cool. And, it is going to be, I'm sure, action packed for the next 48 hours of all streamers and everything. So, we're definitely bumping up against a number of people. So we thank all you guys for being part of this morning's, stream here, because it is definitely in a big competition for what's going on in Dayton. Although, thank God, most of the early release stuff has kind of already happened for ICOM and whatnot. And I'm curious, what's your take on it? Have you seen any of that stuff, the ICOM side yet, Shannon?
Nope.
Nope. Any interest in it?
I don't own any ICOM radios, so I don't really know. I know they had like some super secret surprise thing yesterday, and but I missed it because I was driving and getting here and all that stuff. And then like by the time last night rolled around, the only time that I had to like actually sit down and watch YouTube or any videos myself was close to 11 o'clock at night after we left the 4 days in May. And by then it was like, okay, I actually need to go to bed because I need to wake up in time for the, I need to wake up in time for the continental breakfast. And then, we need to get going over to the fair. So, I went to bed probably around a little bit past midnight. I might have a little more time tonight because after we leave the show, I don't have any plans unless somebody like invites me out to a POTA, or I know people might go to the Hope Hotel bar. I don't know. I can't really hang out in a bar for too long with Miles unless I bring his tablet and help keep him occupied.
So yeah, if you can help support Shannon with extra batteries or something like that, folks, you actually might get her to go to the beer pub crawl. Seek her out if you're going to Dayton.
Help me out with a babysitter.
Well, good luck with that one.
Yeah, so I opened the box. The box exploded, but I have the stickers here. Make RF weird again and Brew and Activate. So yeah, somebody asked any swag at Hamvention. Well, I haven't gotten to Hamvention proper yet, but I did hear because DX Engineering was at the FDIM, they had like some dog tags or something that they had like all different ones. They had like Morse on them, they had frequencies on them, and they had something else. But then somebody said you had to buy something from them to get that swag. So, I wasn't, I didn't buy anything at the FDIM. There was stuff that I wanted to buy. Like I do want to get a modern Morse key because I personally believe in supporting our local fellow radio, ham radio friends. And Aaron does, like, he has a machinist shop. He has a video. I think somebody made a video of how he makes those keys. It's an amazing process. Yeah. And, he puts them all together by hand. And they come in really, like, nice colors, and they're, like, powder coated like guns, and all this really cool stuff. So I want to get one of those. But it is $250, right? So it's totally worth it for somebody who's into keys and into Morse code. I'm not at that level yet where, I know some characters. I know how to send some characters. I'm not very good at receiving, and I don't know all the characters by heart yet. So, maybe that'll be like something that I treat myself with once I actually become proficient at Morse code, because it's very small too, right? Like, it fits in the palm of your hand, so it's perfect for POTA because you can bring it with you. Whereas I have, like one of those, is it like CW Ops or CW Morse, something like that. It's like a 3D printed straight key Morse key that somebody gave me for free. And then I have a really nice like bench paddle key that somebody gave me. And that's, it's nice, but it's not something that you're going to bring on POTA. The modern Morse key is something that you're going to bring on POTA. And then...
Well, you could always be a wannabe. Grouch has got one, and he's, I don't think, done any CW at all, but he's flaunted that thing left and right whenever he can. So, it's something you might want to just have as a great little like item on your desk until that day comes.
I know. I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah. Well, we're not one of those shows that help, folks like Shannon spend her money, so you don't have to worry about that here. You have many other influences everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I really did want to get one of T.O.'s interfaces, because I was honestly thinking of getting a DigiRig for the 891 so that I could, test out the antenna performance of the ATOS by doing some, what do you call it? Some like FT8 or HF WinLink or, SSTV from the mobile rig. So
very cool.
We'll think about that too. I guess it comes as a kit, so you can put it together yourself, but then T.O. will put it together for you, but he charges to put it together. And I really should get better at building kits and learning how to solder things. That should be one of my goals.
There is a said club that you know of and are a part of that actually does those said building kits and does them over Zoom. And so you could screw it up with the rest of us and laugh about it and then fix it later.
I didn't know you guys do that over Zoom.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Our Fox building kit.
So the most important thing today is that I will be going to the YLRL, the Young Ladies Radio League forum and meetup. That's at 3:30 today on Friday. I didn't get to go to that last year because last year we got to the show at like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning after driving for 15 hours starting on Thursday. So last Friday, this time, I was like dead on my feet. So, definitely I'm going to be at that YLRL meetup. So if you're at Hamvention or if you're coming to Hamvention, definitely look for me at that YLRL meetup. I think it's in room 4 at 3:30.
Yep. Yeah, like she said, she's got a bunch of swag from the show here. So if you're looking for maybe getting your Brew Activate koozie cup, she's got a limited number there. Maybe you're into the hammies. She's got a few there too as well, and definitely a buttload of stickers. So, as she already pointed out. So yeah, seek her out if you're.
So if you are at Hamvention and you want a koozie, you have to give me the secret code word, and that's.
I was gonna say.
That's koozie up to me.
Make them spell it. You heard it here.
Are we spelling it with a K or a C?
Well, that's your choice at this point. I do both ways sometimes, and spell check tells me either way.
I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those words that you can spell either way. And then I was instructed that I'm supposed to give away this entire bag of hammies, like in its entirety, so you can have it. So you can have your own full hammy kit. So the secret code word for this is "Hit Me Ham."
Hit me ham. Okay. Now that they're all confused and they've got all this stuff to remember, you can definitely go back to replay if you choose to. But she'll be at the Dayton both days. So, find her, seek her out, and she'll definitely hit you up
Oh,
with some
3
stickers.
days.
Oh,
Dayton
right.
is 3 days.
3 days.
It's
I totally
Friday,
forget.
Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, I usually forget like the last day. Like at least in a lot of New England places up here, the last day tends to be like everybody's got to get out of here fast, kind of thing. And so I don't know if it's different in Dayton, but I will experience that 1 year. I'm guaranteed. It's on my bucket list. So good. Sounds like it's in full bore, and there's a lot of great stuff going on. So looking forward to a lot more videos, and maybe you might be so lucky that if Shannon's the live streaming too.
Well, let's make plans for you to come to Hamvention next year, Hamvention 2027.
I'm not making any. See, you saw last night exactly what had happened in a conversation I had privately with Grouch at one time. We were talking around a campfire, I think it was, and we were like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool to go to Hamvention?" And only because he's already down there has he the ease of use of getting there. So yeah, it's not difficult for him to be able to get there, but said other folks here in the crew would have a little bit more of a challenge trying to break free from the work life that we all live. But all good, all tongue and humor, all tongue and cheek humor. Either way, so let's kind of swing things around back here for a little bit. We got some interesting stuff to talk about today. Hopefully, you're here to talk about POTA bags and all of the drama that we all cause ourselves around that. But I just want to kind of give a quick housekeeping thing here that, I've been turning off the midstream rolls for you guys. So we've been trying to do that diligently because we know we don't want an interrupted, unfettered, Brew Activate live stream here for you guys. So whether you're watching at the convention or you're watching from work or from home, we don't want that to be interrupted or cut off there. So trying to set a community goal here. So we're just trying to hit around $20 in super chats, for the show to be able to cover all that, because in essence, it keeps the stream ad free and definitely smooth for everybody. So again, no pressure. If you're enjoying the show and you want to throw a couple of bucks, please definitely do that in the tip jar. If not, just hang out, chat and like the stream if you can definitely do that, and share because it gets more of that in other people's views. And we love to see more people join the community there. So yes, Shannon's shirt is badass for sure.
Yeah, and you can get your own IMYL Hear Me Roar shirt on livefreeandham.com/shop in the KCUNOHT shop.
Yep. Yeah, you heard it here. Definitely. That is there, as well as many of the future, once she finally maybe gets back to, the Northeast again, she'll start working on those family T-shirts that she was talking about last week.
Yes, I need to start working on the family T-shirts.
Yes.
My mom is radioactive. My son is radioactive.
Cool. All right. Well, you want to do a quick, roll there in the chat before we get into POTA Minute?
Yeah, so we have Jerry KB2GCG, and he said he's going to get there next year. It's been a dream of his for about 35 years, and at 72, he better do it while he can. You're never too old, and it's never too late. So definitely, Jerry, Hamvention 2027. I hope to see you there. I definitely want to be here next year again. This is like the best week in ham radio that you can have, I think. And we got Ham Radio Hef, K4HEF in chat. So good morning. We have Rittenhouse in chat. Let me see. Who else do we have in my chat? We have... let's see. That's it. That's pretty much it for my chat. In your chat, we have Sean, Bearded Jackhole, AA4AT, as always. Roger McKeon. He's in every chat, let's face it. So let's give props to him. He supports all of us. We love him. Jabberjaws K1LY. You guys better be at Hamvention 2027. My POTA queen. I definitely want to see you at that YLRL meetup, building community through ham radio, because I think that's sort of the most important aspect of ham radio to me, is building the friendship, the community, the camaraderie. We have Kyle NN9Z And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for right now. And I'm sure we have some people that are watching that aren't chatting. It's just like a repeater, right? Think of the YouTube chat room as like your repeater. There's more people listening than ever talk. So if you want to check in to the Brew and Activate net, go ahead and just drop your call sign, drop a little hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, and if you're at Hamvention, have you ever been Hamvention? Is it your dream to go to Hamvention?
Yep. And I don't know who was looking for the t-shirt link there. I just saw it above. There's the link there. So if you want to go pick up I Am YL Hear Me Roar shirt, that's a place you can pick it up. Plus all of our Brew and Activate shirts. So whether you're looking for Make RF Weird Again, that's in there. 5-2 Challenge, and many, many more. So, that definitely helps support the show. So if you haven't gotten your shirt yet, or you want to, now's the time. Definitely a good opportunity to head on over there and get some swag from both Shannon and Brew and Activate. So, all right. So let's not waste any more time and kick it off our POTA Minute today. Right. This is the POTA Minute. It's one small POTA idea, one real-world observation, about 60 seconds, no more, no less, just to get you thinking this morning. There's no right answer, just some stuff you start noticing after a few activations or maybe a few hundred hunts.
Didn't we do this one already?
My mistake. I forgot to update this was last week's. So once again, I am a one hot mess show today. So let's make a fix there on this one because apparently it's not the right slide there. So let me do a quick swap here. See if
Good thing I'm paying attention.
Yeah, somebody is, because I know I am not. Let me go grab the file here just so we can actually sound like we're put together here.
This show is totally professional.
It is, but it doesn't mean we are. Where the heck is the slide? Oh my gosh, did I not grab the slide? I did not.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. How could I do that? I know I ran it.
Yes, Shannon said it best. Bless his heart.
Yes, thank you. Wow, that's just a slap in the face, my friend. I know what that really means in true Southern form. So, all right. Well, stall for a little bit while I go get it off of my tool here.
So what is the POTA Minute today? Can you tell us about it without the slide, or?
I can. All right. Well, we'll just do it that way since, I'm not on the ball here. So it is tailgating trouble. So the idea is repeating someone else's call won't get you logged faster. And so I think in my mind, it creates a lot of confusion. So here's my comment to you. Wait your turn. Make that moment count.
Can you give an example? I'm confused here. Repeating someone else's call.
When you're repeating someone else's call, meaning you're stalling as either the activator and you're constantly like, hey, can I hear you? And you can hear them well or whatever, and you just missed it in the mashup of, many calls. Or maybe you're, a hunter and you're constantly just calling out KC10HT, KC10HT, and you're not giving them the opportunity to say QRZ or anything like that. So there is, not any gain, not any benefit to wanting to basically just constantly be in a nuisance and a nag, when you're calling out, so, be considerate. That help? I thought I had the slide, man. That's going to kill me.
Yeah, that it really, that is sort of the number one thing, right? Being courteous on the air, being polite, waiting your turn. Everyone's going to get through, right? We don't need to yell over each other, and being courteous as a activator and also as a hunter, right? Yep. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna put a nail in that one and put that to rest.
Yeah,
let's just move along here. Go back to our main view here. We're just a good old show that has the amateur qualities that you're looking for when it comes to a live stream. All right.
Yeah, and so Jerry said he just ordered that T-shirt for a close family friend who accompanies me to 90% of my POTA activations. KC3YXP. So, thank you so much for ordering the shirt, for supporting the show. And I hope that your close family friend enjoys it and wears it in good health. And, snap a picture when you're on one of your POTA activations and send it to us. And maybe we'll show it on the show or, post it in the Discord or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we're always interested in seeing our, fruits of our labor out there in the wild. And so I know a bunch of folks have won T-shirts and also have purchased stuff in the store. So yeah, send us your photos. So always share with us, and we'll share with the rest of the community there. And maybe we'll feature you on Brew Activate in the future. So.
And hello to Espen Molvin from Japan, Oscar 29 Victor Delta, Lima Alpha 2 Uniform Sierra Alpha.
Say that twice.
So that's a great call sign.
That is awesome. Very cool. Nice to see some DX there here in the show, as always. And thank you again for hanging out with us this morning. All right. So we are going to get into some interesting topics today. So I got some real cool stuff that I've been working on in the background diligently because I struggle with this. You've probably heard from us, on several shows, mostly me, because I think Shannon just operates out of her trunk when it comes to just, all of her POTA stuff. And that's her home base, right?
Well, so I won't say that I operate like out of my trunk, right? Because I usually bring the stuff to a picnic table unless the weather's bad. But I keep like almost everything in my trunk. My trunk is like my go bag, right? Mm-hmm. Why do you need a go bag when you can have a go trunk?
Because you have a go trunk that transfers to said go wagon.
POTA wagon, exactly.
All right. Well, so with that, let's flip over here if I can stay ahead of my slide. See, I'm a big mess today.
Is this the right slide?
This is the right slide.
It wasn't even the right slide, the last one.
It was the last slide, so we're already going to work backwards today. So we're going to talk about everything that I alluded to, that a POTA operator kind of deals with at least once. We all have done this. We all have been, hanging around, having a good drink, and sharing our, misfortunes and drowning our sorrows out, and all of those activations that could have gone better because we forgot, something that, was critical to the operation. And so the idea is that we all kind of lie to ourselves. And I hate to say it here, but we're going to be, brutally honest a little bit. And, kind of got to reveal some of the truth with the intention of hopefully giving you an opportunity or a tool that can help you stay ahead of this and, be more, we'll say, ready for said activation, more than mentally ready, because I think, like Shannon alluded, she operates out of her trunk in terms of all of where her gear is, her go kit is, and then she takes it out as she needs. Now, have you ever, just real quick question for you, Shannon, have you ever gotten into your trunk and then been like, oh, I forgot this, or better, let me phrase it this way. Have you ever had an activation where you've taken stuff out of your trunk and you've had to deal with a broken coax connector or, a dead battery or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I have I still forget things, right? Like I only have one set of headphones. So I've forgotten my headphones before, or, I carry my paper logbook from the house to the, to the computer to digitize my logs. So sometimes I forget my paper logbook and then I have to do digital logging on my phone or whatever. Oh, the tragedy. So, it is, even with a POTA trunk, it is still possible to forget things or you forget to charge up your battery. I mean, that happened even with the 100 amp hour because it lasts like 3 POTA activations. If sometimes you don't remember to charge it up and you don't know how dead it is, so then you're on an activation and you're in the middle of a QSO with somebody and your battery goes completely dead and it's so dead that it won't even power the radio for receiving. Ask me how I know about that.
we all have those stories and we're going to get into them for sure. So really what today is going to be all about is that we're going to show you guys how to stop treating your POTA bag like a junk drawer, because I feel a lot of us just pour stuff and gear into a location that we feel comfortable, that'll stay the same most of the time. And every time, like Shannon, and I've done it myself, I forget a connector. Or my perfect example was I was doing a live stream and I couldn't find paracord. And guess what? Trying to put up a wire antenna, you need paracord. So what did I end up doing? I paid the price. I snapped two of my sections in my DX Commander 10 meter mast. And so could I have done better? Yeah. Could I have had a better system? Does the system I have work? No, it doesn't. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And so there's a lot of things that we're going to cover today. But the idea at the very end of this is I'm going to give you something that actually might actually make this way easy for all of us. So with that, we are going to dive into a question that I want to basically throw at the chat here. So before we kind of get too far into it, and I'm going to drop this chat. So what is the one thing you've forgotten on a POTA activation? Drop it in the chat there. Let us know. I'm curious to see what the most common one is. So for those, that are following along in the chat, again, let me know. Was it coax, battery, your mic, your logbook, a pen? Let me know what those things are. I'm curious. And so we'll let that keep rolling. I'm going to throw the one other thing too, is that Shannon and I are very, built off of coffee. Coffee is an important thing on every activation.
Yes. Like having something to drink, whether that's water, whether it's coffee, whether it's a Monster Energy drink, because you get parched when you're calling CQ and you're having long rag chews with people, bring in a snack or a drink for Miles, because nobody ever wants to cut a POTA activation short because their junior operator is like, Mom, I want a snack. Mom, I want a drink. Mom, I need to go to the bathroom.
I don't get that, but yeah, I get it. It's usually me alone, and that's usually my dog going, "Are you done, Dad? Are you done? Are you done? Can I go sniff this tree over here because my leash is wrapped around the table 4 times and I can't get any further." And so yeah, doesn't matter, I guess, who your partner is. The partner is still the one that's not operating. All right. So, and then I want to throw one more question out here, and then let's throw this to the guys in the chat. Are you a one bag person? Are you a multiple kit person? Are you a trunk person like Shannon? Let me know in the chat. Like, what's your MO? How do you operate in your POTA activations or tile activations or soda? I'm curious to see how folks are behaving. And again, there's no judgment. Well, mild judgment, we'll say. Okay, fine. It's going to be loving judgment either way until we get to that, solving this problem here.
So we have another DX station from France.
Wow.
F5VCVEI 9IE54. I don't know what all that letters and numbers means, but they did post somewhere up here their call sign. Their name is Nial. I hope I'm saying that right. Their call is F5VCV, and they are in IN98FF in Nantes, France. And
Wow.
they said the number one thing they have forgotten is a coat, because it looked warm until they got out and they practically got blown away. So checking the weather before you go out for the POTA is definitely very important. Yeah. And maybe, if you have a POTA trunk, like pack a light jacket, have, layers, have a sweatshirt in your car that you keep for all times for emergencies.
Yep. My 2 rules of thumb is comfort, 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 and ogres have layers. So you should, as a human, make sure you have layers too as well. Cool. Awesome. Well, it's good to see everybody there in the chat. This is really cool. I love to see our fellow POTA and portable ops from over the pond there and everywhere else in the world. So thank you guys again for being part of the show today. Okay. We're going to talk the real problem here. So this slide is very messy, but it's intended to be messy on purpose, because I think the transition from us being hams in our shacks here in our own homes to the portable world didn't get cleaned up along the way. And I think a lot of us still have the mentality of, and I think we shroud it in the N+1 strategy of saying, hey, we just need to have multiples of this item in our POTA kits or in our trunks or wherever. And we stimulate ourselves in thinking that we actually have everything we need when we go to a POTA activation or an outdoor portable activation or soda or tiles. And we find that we come up short. And so I want to say this, and I'm going to say it the best way I can. A packed bag does not mean a ready bag, guys. Let that sink in. I know the silence is deafening, but it is really a trap. Like, think about this. Like, a lot of times, and I could go into my closet over here and I could look at every bag I think I have that's all zippered nicely and neat and stacked and say, hey, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go. But I know in the back of my mental checklist that I probably didn't check the battery from the last time I did the POTA activation. I maybe didn't charge my tablet. You know, the last time I had to use paper and pen, I lost the pen. You know, did I replace that? You know, and the list kind of goes on there. But it's one of those things that we need to really understand and then figure out how to be better with. And so this kind of running with you, Shannon, a little bit.
I was paying attention to chat.
Then,
Shannon,
so no.
Jabberjaws and I are having a very serious discussion about the the unsung hero of baby wipes. That if you've never had a baby, maybe you don't realize how good baby wipes are. But even before I had a baby, I would always bring baby wipes with me, like camping, so I could wipe off the bug spray before you crawl into your sleeping bag. But like, I seriously miss when Miles was a baby in diapers, and I had the diaper bag with me, and I had the diapers, the baby wipes. I could fit so much stuff in that diaper bag, stuff that you didn't even know that you needed. Right. But yeah, like when your hands are sticky or dirty and I need baby wipes now.
Well, then the question begs itself, you don't have them in your trunk then, do you?
No, you know what happens is they do dry out. If they're in like the hot car, they get they get dried out. But yeah, I would definitely pack a pack of baby wipes in my go bag.
Well, there you go. I mean, that is just a perfect example, I think, in terms of the unmentionables, or what we call the miscellaneous stuff that we don't always think about, but we know when we needed it, it would have made it so much better. Like, you spilled your coffee and you got a little bit on your radio or on, your key or whatever be the case. And, you need something to revert, back to previous state. So baby wipes are top tier, as Rabbit knows. So yeah, definitely going to be one of those things you want to add in the kit. One of the things I think we're going to try to do today is talk about what the real goal is. I find that all of us have like very high, lofty ideas of what we want our Go kits to look like. And we kind of think about like more of the radios and the devices and the attachments and the stuff that go with it. But all of those connecting parts or other supportive things like, comfortable chair, spare set of clothing, umbrellas, all of those kind of things, all add up into what that POTA kit would look like. So if you can imagine, if we're all like me, and you think in the sense, oh, I've got one POTA bag. Well, I'm just going to keep adding to it. And so Shannon's got the same thing. She's got one trunk and she keeps adding to it and putting stuff in there and, remembering to add things in there. A lot of times that's it's a good intention, but in essence, it's not really helpful in helping you get to a place of actually realizing, hey, I do have this, or I need to replace this, or I need, I can go to my vehicle to get said device, or, piece of equipment. And so my question, and what I'm going to post to everybody here in the chat is, is your current system able to answer those types of questions? Can you look at your bags today? Like, as you're sitting here on the chat thinking, does your POTA bag today cover everything you might need to? Like, does it get you on that kind of crazy train of like, oh, I totally forgot I had to do XYZ, or I'm missing this, or I broke that connector on my coax? It really starts that kind of mind running when you think really, hey, I think my bag's in good shape. I'm ready to go. So we're going to dive into more of that. But the idea is we really have to ask ourselves a lot of times, and as I got in this slide here, you don't want to get to a place before you're ready to go out to do activation, and you have to go through that mental checklist. How has anybody, do you do that, Shannon, when you're in your car? Like, do you spend like 10, 15 minutes getting all your stuff gathered to your POTA wagon and you're doing the mental checklist as well as gathering stuff?
Yeah, I definitely I rely on mental checklists, and then sometimes that means that I forget things.
And it's exhausting, isn't it?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you know it is. Come on. Because by the time you get to sit down at the bench and you've already hiked like 20, 30 yards, you have to go back to the car to get said item because you forgot your in your mental checklist to remember to bring it. Or worse, you left it at home because you left it on the
Yeah.
table because you were going to bring it with you.
Exactly. Exactly. There was definitely something that I was going to bring with me to Hamvention. Oh, it was Miles's water bottle, his reusable water bottle that I bought him last year for Hamvention, and he stuck, all his different Hamvention stickers on there. And it was either last night or this morning. He was like, "Mom, you forgot my ham radio water bottle." I was like, "Oh, you're right. I did. I washed it. I put it in the strainer. I meant to grab it and bring it, and I forgot it."
Well, you're not alone because like I was watching Frank the Tank's stream and he was like, I got brand new stickers, like simple things like for his channel have nothing to do with ham radio per se. And he forgot all of his brand new sticker packs that he was going to bring to give away at the show and left them on the kitchen table kind of thing in the preparation. So we all leave busy lives. We all deal with many things when we're all trying to like go out and have some fun. So in the context of POTA, yeah, you're going to have some challenges, but I think we can try to minimize some of that. And so that's what my kind of goal today is to, help you guys minimize those, I don't know, brain farts, those moments where you think you have it and you forgot it, or you realize you had it and it was broken, and how to be able to put this into a more usable system. So you look at one place and at a moment's notice what's going on. And so with that, we're going to reveal something that I've been working on that I'm super excited about to kind of share. And I've got some stuff you guys can take and use yourself, and we'll dive into that. So let's get into a little bit of this stuff here. So the one thing here, well, let's do this here. I've got another quick, chat that I want to throw at the chat here. So I'm curious because I appreciate everybody's already thrown in what they've forgotten at the, their last POTA or a couple of POTAs that they've done. What is kind of the smallest item you forgot that's caused you the biggest problem? And I'm not talking like the radio or the antenna. Like there's got to be one or two things that you've gone to an activation, and I've done it. Like I actually, one activation I did, I fondly remember I didn't have the one small barrel connector I needed to be able to add the extra length of coax because I couldn't, the 25-foot run that I had would not reach where it needed to be. And it basically fouled the activation. What? Yeah, of course, Shannon, pencil. You out of all people, I would expect to have many of those.
Well, now I keep spare pens and pencils in the POTA trunk.
Everywhere. And the glove compartment and the center console.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. I just keep them in the car.
It's like my wife with her multiple headband sunglasses. It's like there's one in the dash, there's one. I'm like, you have like 8 of them, and you can never find any of the 8, even though they're all in their strategic locations. So yeah, while you're doing that and throw in your little tidbit in there, just again remember, guys, midstream ad rolls are turned off. So if you can, definitely keep this conversation going. Again, we're trying to just raise to keep those off up to $20 for the super chats, and everything. We'll keep, if we reach that goal, we'll keep these ad-free streams rolling here. And so,
yeah, if you want to keep us deep in the Dunkin', a large Dunkin' Donuts a large Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee is like what, $4 now. So even like $4 or $5 super chat, anything.
Where do you go? I mean, I paid like almost $6 yesterday for meat. It was a large.
At Dunks?
Yeah. I didn't use the app.
What are you getting in this coffee, man?
Trust me, it's a straight regular. It's nothing, nothing flavor.
They must be more expensive up in New Hampshire because it's like $4 something.
Have you ever noticed at Dunkin' Donuts?
Listen, did you just say you don't use the app? Why don't you use the app?
Oh, I do use the app, but I didn't use the app for that purchase. The one I just, had done that was $6. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, like certain times of the day, Dunkin' Donuts changes their prices.
No.
Yeah.
They have what do they call that? Like crowdsource dynamic
That
pricing. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
exactly. And morning pricing is much more expensive than say midday roll or or the four
Well,
o'clock I need
you
my
know
coffee
what?
run.
That's why they're all switching to the digital signboards so they can do that.
All of them pretty much gone that way. And anyone that's gone from Dunkin' Donuts to Dunks has already done that already. So
Did Did you know some places are actually moving to outlaw dynamic pricing?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of sad, especially when you're like in that dire need and you have to have your caffeine fix.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember going into the tray of my change tray and going, "Hey, I just have enough for like a $3 coffee. This is great, and it's a large, so my day would be great." I can't even do that now.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to find a Dunks on the way to the Greene County Fairgrounds here. And thank you, Rabbit Ham.
Yes.
Wawa is superior. They don't have Wawa. Like at least maybe
Oh,
if there's a Wawa around here, like I would definitely try it. But they don't have Wawa in the Northeast.
yep. No, we don't. We definitely do not.
Wawa is something a baby asks for when they want water.
And that's what you get, I think, when you drink their coffee. But anyway, that's what I heard. We still love you. All
But
right.
thank you for the 4.99 super chat, Rabbit. We love you.
Yes, we do. All right. So definitely thank you guys for letting us know your deep inner honest truth there. Yes, PL259 adapters are a big problem for sure. That is a common problem. Dan says physical checklists. Yes, sort of, I think. But the problem with the physical checklist is that sometimes you might miss out on, that broken connector you had last activation. How do you deal with that? Or in your physical checklist, do you always charge your batteries every time you bring them in? Those things you got to kind of pay attention to, because I could always put my battery back and forget that I charged it and go out in the field and it's 10 times lower than what it was before. And so, like as Shannon alluded, she's been on activations where batteries weren't charged and, they kind of almost went south fast.
And we have Jurgen here from the European Ham Radio Show. He just slid into chat. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Eric, from over there in
Hello.
Austria. So hello.
Very cool. Yes, he has been instrumental. I think actually, Jurgen, I think he's been doing tile stuff. So very cool. All right. So let's go to our next slide here. So the reason why actually, we already talked a little bit about this, but basically, bottom line is that a lot of the stuff that we fail in our activations are due to how we build and repack our kits. And we kind of alluded to that. And we all know that. I mean, we all deal with hey, I get home after the activation, and the only thing in our mind is, I got to post my logs, right? That's all you ever think about most of the time. You're not thinking about, I got to recharge my battery. So how do we solve that? And so let's get into it. All right. 3 types of bag gear chaos. I've kind of spent a little time kind of trying to summarize this into a place that was helpful for us, that we'd understand. And so obviously the one that we run into, and we've already alluded to in the chat here, is the forgotten item problem. And this is always like, I'm missing a coax, I'm missing an antenna, I'm missing a charge battery, logging, so forth and so on. And it's usually due to the fact that by the time, like I said, we get back from our operation and we just are tired, we put our stuff over in the corner and we'll think in our heads that we'll get back to it later. It's always then at that point subject to getting moved, tossed in the truck, whatever. There's always some place, or what we call our safe places, that we put this stuff to say that we'll come back to later. Like I have a battery charging center. 9 times out of 10, my batteries don't always get to the battery charging center, or they get there and I forget to plug them in. That is, one of these things that we always deal with the forgotten issue. Second thing is the dead gear problem. We alluded to batteries, tablets, all of those electronic devices that we have, and the stuff that keeps them running. Like, I don't know about you, but I've got a bunch of power banks all in my bags. Every bag's got one. So if I need to charge a cell phone, I need to charge a laptop, whatever, I have some battery backup. But I've also made the mistake of not bringing the right power cable for said charging device. So like I'll have like a lightning cable instead of a USB-C cable for my phone or whatever. So it's those things that we're trying to solve. So we're not trying to look at the big picture, which I think a lot of us, when we build our Go kits, do. We need to look at more of the details here. And then the last one is the wrong bag for the wrong problem. I did see a few folks say they had several bags. I have several bags that I use for different things. Like I have a Beach Go bag, which is my QRP kind of setting with random wires and end feds in it, and it requires me remembering to bring my mask and that type of stuff. So all of those have a unique purpose, and all of them have their own unique challenges for me keeping them updated too. Any thing in the chat while we're chugging along here, Shannon, that we want to bring out?
Who was it? Somebody said, I think it was Niall, the gentleman from France. He was saying, whatever you don't use from the bag, kind of like exclude it next time, right? So a little bit of that makes sense, right? So you don't end up with too much stuff. But so it's like that thing where in your closet, like on the first of the year, you turn all your hangers like the opposite direction. And then as you take stuff out and use it, you turn the hanger the other way. So if you don't wear something within like the year or the 6 months, and you donate it, so you're always keeping your closet fresh.
Strategy, is that it?
It's Marie Kondo. Get it
right? Kondo, yes. Whatever.
So,
I don't do it.
you could do the same thing with like your ham radio go bag, right? If you hold it, if it doesn't bring you joy, then you
every one of them does. What are you talking about? Over my dead body is going to happen. Is basically if I have to weed out certain set of equipment. What's wrong with you? Come on. I know you have a trunk, so therefore you could just, keep it all in one place and it makes you all happy. The last, I think, one is what I'm calling the wrong bag for the wrong problem. And we all kind of do it. And it's sort of the thing that I think Shannon alluded to there, Jabberjaws, saying you should never empty supplies out of a bag or so forth. That may be okay, but at the same time, you put them in there for a reason. And you put them in there at the time of whatever you ran into for the last problem that, you obviously realized you needed for, an antenna or a radio or a connector or whatever. The one thing we have to do is understand our bags in a very clear and concise way, because it will help us in the long run, both for the management of it and for the longevity of getting the love and enjoyment out of said bag, because you can go do a POTA and not have to worry about, it ever falling apart on you. The last thing, and so we'll get into here, is pack does not always mean prepared. And this, I think, is, one of the things that really kind of struck a chord with me is that I think I pack a good bag. I think I pack a well-rounded bag, and I've done all of the grab the bag, kind of empty its contents and say, oh yeah, this works for this. And you do that whole mental dance that we all do of like, yeah, this bag should really do exactly what it should do based off all the stuff that's in it. But we don't really do a full, thorough test of said things in that bag, which gets us into a place of a false sense of, well, I'll just throw one more connector in, or I'll throw a second spare antenna in. Or if I remember the spare coax I have in the back of my truck, then I got that covered. But it's not really a good strategy and a good plan, especially if you're like myself, who person likes to have multiple bags for multiple different, purposes. The one thing we're not trying to do today, and I'm going to say this up front, we're not building an ultimate bag. So whatever you guys got, we're going to work with what you got. And the idea is we're helping come up with a solution to help you manage that chaos, and control it better. So let's kind of talk around the couple of layers here for what I think should be a better way for building our systems. And anything in the chat there before I kind of dive into this real quick?
Shannon said she got a neat setup of these 4 boxes, look like ammo boxes, inside a carry tray from Lowe's, and put all of the extra items that might be needed and keep it in the vehicle. So that sounds interesting. Okay. So I said if she has a link, she can find that, either post it in the Discord or post it here in the show chat so that we can share that with everyone. Because, I think that's like part of, the camaraderie and the community of ham radio is learning from each other and mentoring each other and, finding something that's cool and then sharing it with everyone else and
Yeah,
saying how certain things worked for you.
100%. And my question, I guess, is, and this sounds like what I call the safety blanket, is that box you created, Shannon, out of the frustration that you experienced because you were missing said connectors or cables or whatever. My question to you is, how do you manage now that extra box? Because now it sits in the back of your car and you're like, I know I have it in the back of my head, but you might have taken a connector out of it, 2 weeks ago for a buddy for POTA that you went to go hang out with them and they needed a connector, but you never replaced it. So now you've depleted from that box. And that's one of the things I like to try to solve too, is because why have all of this spare stuff and then create this safety net that we think we're helping ourselves and find out that we've already torn into it to rescue somebody else's activation, but never restored it back to it being a core kind of emergency, kit. So let's kind of think around those things, because obviously we have our core radio kits and we have our go bags and then we have the supporting stuff, and both of those have to be maintained. So now you can see the problem is now multiplied and it's gotten worse. So this is kind of how I broke it up. We obviously have the core kit, and we all do this as hams. I see this many a time. I have a friend who is getting back in the hobby in our club, and he sends me very lengthy emails that gives me his updates on his POTA adventures. And it's funny because he has conversations with me and he says, "Oh, I'm going to go do this." And he started down Shannon's route, building a POTA wagon and hauling, literally everything, including a 100 amp hour battery, out into a quarter of a mile walk to a POTA park in his, local area. And it's almost comical because I'll go read his email and then I'll meet him at like breakfast the next couple of days. And I'll say, he's like, "Oh, it was really, really heavy. I should have listened when you said, don't throw everything, including the kitchen sink, into your activation." and so you see that that evolution kind of happening. All that being said is that as you start to pare down your kits, you got to think in terms of functionality. And so core kit is always impossible. It's non-negotiables. It's the things that we need to cover in order to have a successful activation and getting on the air. And most of the time I'm talking like CW and sideband, because that tends to be the two popular modes most of the time when you're doing, and it can be applied to digital. But ultimately from my model, I'm thinking simpler is always better. So every time layer one's going to be radio, mic, power cord, battery, and list goes on. But ultimately there's about 8 to 10 items in this, and that never changes. And that doesn't matter whether you have multiple bags or, a single bag, whatever. That is always going to be the core. That doesn't change. That will never, ever be modified. If you have headphones in there, fine, throw them in. Some of us operate with headphones. Some of us don't. No big deal. The next layer, which I think is important, and we probably as hams do this already, either in directly or kind of just, out of just habit, because this is how you developed your packing and in organization and inventory, this layer 2. And so layer 2 is what I call the mission modules. Each of these are a focus on a specific function, like digital modes, the antennas, event modules, which include table, chairs, clothing, umbrellas, that type of stuff. If you're into VHF, UHF stuff, a repeater HT kind of, module. And then, the last one, which I think is important, is bad weather, because we all deal with it in different, frames of, the country. And so, you got to compartmentalize this. This is a good way to do it. And the idea is that with each of these pouches or each of these small little buckets, you've got a printed cheat sheet with it. And a few folks, you guys mentioned having a physical checklist, always important. Laminating, it's always a good idea. I actually think, I can't remember where I heard another ham do this, but he had it laminated with a little white marker or a dry erase, kind of marker attached to it that he carried with it. And that way he could check stuff off and then throw it back in the box. And then that way he knew that the list sitting on top of it was the confirmation that everything in this box was, correct. But having that mission module now then makes things easier. So when you go to an activation, you go grab the digital bag if you want that on top of your core bag. You got an antenna module, same thing. So you might have several antenna modules, antenna wires, verticals, so forth and so on. How's that sit with you, Shannon?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just trying to get ready to leave over to the fairgrounds.
Yeah,
so
I bet. Yeah, totally fine.
I told Miles he can carry the giveaways for Brew and Activate since my little tiny backpack is getting kind of full.
Very cool.
I think he's getting restless. He's making paper airplanes right now and throwing them around the hotel room.
At least not when we start throwing them at you, then we know it to speed up. All right, so let's do a quick poll here while we're just chit-chatting and plugging along here. I got one going here really quickly. Where's my poll? Because I know I did this one. Where is it? Okay, here's the poll. All right, so I'm curious which level, and Shannon's not in here because I moved her out of the scene somehow. Add her back in. There we go. How organized is your POTA bag? Answer #. You military precision, you mostly okay, you controlled chaos, or you are a raccoon with a radio. Let me know, and we'll keep circling around with this one. But yeah, throw your in the chat just # which choice you are by the the hashtag. My gosh, I just drew a blank. I was gonna Oglethorpe. Yes, thank you. So, what we're going to talk a little bit, I'm going to skip over at least some of the checklist stuff because it sounds like a lot of you guys already have, checklists or at some level or another with the idea that, whether it's a mental one or a physical one, it sounds like you've gotten to that, we'll say, level in your, POTA evolution here. And we're going to dive into kind of the last piece, which I think is kind of important here. And so while that's chugging along, let's just go back to my slides here. And we'll talk. This is the post-activation checklist. If you're interested in these slides, I can get those to you guys. But ultimately, a lot of this reset checklist stuff is important. And we'll talk about it when I get to the next part. But I want to reveal to you guys that's available and kind of excited about it. Post-activation reset, always important. This is something that we all forget to do. I do it often, and I'm trying to get better with it. Is that whether you have that physical list or you have a process, making sure you follow through. Like we always try to train our kids to do, tie your shoes, brush your teeth, that type of stuff. Same thing should be with your POTA bags. Like after you do your activation, first thing in your mindset is grab your bag, go put it wherever you have it stored, clean it out if it's wet or it's got some issues. Take out the batteries, charge them up, plug them in. Kind of do all of those things that when you reset your core bag has everything in it. It's zipped up, put on the shelf, and all of the things that require, charging or, syncing or whatever are all put on their appropriate chargers and their bases, and try to keep them together. I put a video out a while back where I have my little charging station, and it's like a 3-4 tower charging station for my laptops, my iPads, all of my devices, with the idea that I just plug them all in there and all of them get charged up, and I don't have to go to many other places in my house, which only causes more confusion. So centralizing some of that stuff is important. And then the idea is once that bag's set and reset, then you're already ready for your next activation. This is the thing that kind of made a light bulb go off in my head is after your activation is done, you should already be preparing for your next activation. And by doing that in advance, you set yourself up for a better successful activation down the road, whether it's weeks, months, or the next day. I find people who do activations every day, they've already got a good system because it's just, kind of like running or exercising. You just develop a habit and you develop a good one going along the way. All right, let's go to the poll real quick here. So with the poll here, yeah, wow, 2 votes, military precision. Nice job. I'm curious to see who those are.
One was Rabbit, and one was Alpha Echo 4 X-Ray Oscar. So I don't recognize that call sign, that name, but welcome into Brew and Activate Brew Crew.
Very cool.
Make
Yeah.
sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you hit that notification bell so you know every time we go live, which is every Friday from 10 a.m. until I almost said 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
PM.
That would
Oh
be a
my gosh.
marathon stream. 10
No
a.m. until
thanks.
11 a.m. And you can hit us up on our Live Free and Ham Discord as well.
Yep. Yep. Very cool. All right. So nice job. So mostly okay. That's what I kind of figured in kind of my planning for this was that most people feel somewhat confident, like they say 70% confident, and that their kits are pretty well organized. They always, if you're a lot like me, you're always trying to like improve it and make it better, but you don't want to get to that perfection level because then you feel like you've caused a deprecating scenario where all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I really believe my bags are fully complete, and then find out that you failed yourself miserably. So yeah, nobody ever really shoots for perfection. Okay, so let's go to the last slide here, and then I want to dive over and share with you. So we already talked to post-activation reset. So what do we do with all this stuff now that we kind of solved the problem or talked this problem through? Well, I've come up with 2 ways, and I'm hopefully that will give you guys some success that might, take some pressure off, but give you a better way if you haven't developed those checklists or you haven't come up with some process that helps you track. And so let me go over to my screen share real quick here, and I'll bring this one up here. This is the first app that I want to show you guys. So let's go here. And I'll make this available to you guys going out. I took a little time to plan this out because really what I was looking for was a process that I could, through a spreadsheet and a little bit more wizardry in the technical world, be able to categorize and organize my bags and then be able to check in or check out stuff that I take out of the bag. Because the one thing I've learned is that if I have a bag, nice little bag here, once I take something out, well, at that point, how do I track that? How do I keep that piece from, not finding a new home somewhere else? Well, what I did is that I created this spreadsheet, and we'll go into it a little bit. But through the world of what you might know what these are NFC tags. And the nice part about NFC tags is they're super cheap. You can buy a buttload of them. And this is one of 5 bags I got for less than $10. And you can put on the side of your bag this little NFC tag. And through this spreadsheet, you can literally link that tag to the bag. And so what I did is that I created a separate tab in the spreadsheet. And so this is my master dashboard. So this is my visual cue of when I go to, if I was looking at, how are the states of my bags? Like, are they all complete? Do they have all of their items in there? Did I remove a battery? Did I take a connector out? And I go through the list and create every item that's in that bag. And so if we look at, say, my Beach Go bag here real quick, it basically by tab gives me a complete summary. And so the spreadsheet I'll make available for everybody and a little bit of instruction. You can download this and use it to your heart's content and modify it. I'm always curious to see how people would change this around. But the idea is that as you're kind of modifying this spreadsheet, say I go to take out the BNC mail to mail connector. Well, nice part about this tool is that if I uncheck it as I remove it, now the system tells me, hey, you've got one device in this bag that's missing. You need to replenish it. You need to put it back. You need to do something. And that also appropriately reflects on the dashboard on the main. So I can see that if I am less than 5 items in that bag, as we can see if I go back to the Beach Go bag. So say like I pull out a couple more things here like this and this and this, you'll see that the status of the dashboard starts to change. And so you get this visual cue of like, hey, what the heck is going on? I need to go back in and make sure all that stuff is ready for the next activation. And the idea is that anytime you have an item in this list, you scan the tab and you scan the URL and you add it to that NFC tag. And so now I can take my phone, and everybody's got NFC on their phone. You just tap the NFC tag, and then up will pop a small little bubble that says, hey, would you like to go open this spreadsheet? Lo and behold, I go right to the tab in the spreadsheet, and now I can add the stuff back in or subtract it. So I don't have to create a manual paper process, and then if I add stuff to the bag, recreate that process, because now it's all in a spreadsheet. So I've really taken this to the nth degree I even have a coax connector box that all of my coax connectors are in. So I know at a moment's notice that my coax connector box has 5 Messi and Poloni Evo connectors in it. And if I take one out, I can adjust the quantity appropriately and so forth and so on. And so this is a very, very simplistic process, very easy to do. I'm happy to share the spreadsheets if you're interested in having and using something like this for your own system. But I'm never one to leave stuff left alone. And so I said, okay, I will say a little vibe coding. And I like to be able to, really kind of play things up and make things useful. So I wanted something more flexible, more useful, more, smartphone specific app kind of related as well. And so I created this same system in in a web app, and it's not a spreadsheet. It's basically a full complete app, and I'm still developing it. But ultimately, you can go in, and it gives you a nice quick dashboard. You log in who you are, and so the idea is I'm trying to scale this with the intention that more people might want to use it and have the capabilities. But I'll go into my Beach Go bag. I've changed it around so you can, within the design, can you see that, Shannon? No problem? Or do you need to zoom it up?
Well, I mean, don't go by me because I'm on a small laptop screen.
Okay.
It looks
well,
okay to me.
Okay. So if if I add items to this, and so say like I'm going to remove this SO239 female connector, well, if I click it, now all of a sudden it flags itself to red. The system now updates it, and if I go back to my dashboard, you'll see that the Beach Go bag is now missing one of 21 or 22 items. I can also say if I want to go back in and change the item here, I can go in and click edit. Come on, silly little app. I'm still working out some of the bugs, and so this is kind of one of those things that I'm still modifying and changing here. But of course, today it's not going to work the way I want it. You can go in and the edit item screen. Of course, why not? It's technology today. There we go. Let's go back into Beach Go bag. Okay. So if I want to edit this connector, there we go. So now we can go in here and I bought this.
Miles.
At
Careful with that.
Dayton. I can spell Dayton the right way as an example. And then I can hit save item. And then now it is added a comment field there and so forth and so on. I also added in pictures. So if you're a visual person and you want to see what a bio-NO battery, 4-amp hour battery looks like, that now you can add photos in there. And all I have to do is bring this up on my app, log into it, and then I can mark things, items as removed and returned, and it keeps this all updated. And again, based off this little NFC tag, I now can just tap it on my phone. So when I go up to that bag or when I come back from an activation, I just tap the NFC tag and say, these are the things that I'm changing in the bag and I'm adding, and gives me, a real-time updated kind of dashboard of everything that's currently in that bag. And I have to say that I'm loving it. I mean, I'm, a person that I don't have to constantly think about stuff. I'm happy if I can put it in a good system. And so I think this is a good system that I've kind of built around here with the idea that, I want to scale it. I want to give it to more people. I want to have more people have an opportunity to play around with it. So I'm going to say this, that if you guys are interested and you want to kind of be beta testers for me and help out in kind of shaping this, maybe you've got some really good feature items or ideas that we should add to it. Head on over to our Discord. And so that Discord, that link in the Discord here is, I know I have it in here. I don't have it in here. Of course, if Shannon, you can, there we go. I got it. Here's the link to the Discord, and you can head on over to the Brew Activate group. There'll be a post over there soon. So if you're interested in beta testing and helping out, then feel free to, hit me up and I'll get you in the loop and we'll kind of play around with it with the intention that, we're getting, more people involved with it. And, who knows where this app will go. I mean, in essence, I might just, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to be able to add to it and make this more functional and useful for many more people. And so if you've got an idea and you want to play around with this and you like the idea, then yeah, hit me up and we'll get you looped in and go from there. So I know Shannon's chomping at the bit, so I don't want to kill too much more time, and that's why I'm speed rushing here through. So, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I mean, this is what I wanted to share with you guys and really get out there into the wild, because I think it's got some good value and hopefully you guys might see some benefit in it. And with that, I think we should say the goodbyes then.
Yeah,
So
like I said, Miles is throwing paper airplanes around the room. He was putting his cat on the live stream, so I think he's ready to go get over to Hamvention, and hopefully some of that, God level traffic jam has dissipated, so we can go get signed in, get our lanyards, get our tickets, laminated, and
is that
go
POTA
go.
cat? That looks like POTA cat.
Oh, you know what? It could be a POTA cat. We
There you
should
go.
maybe we should bring the kitty with us to Hamvention and show
Yeah,
the POTA cat people.
I might. They're
Maybe
very
you know
close to
what?
what they look like.
Maybe I might have to start bringing this cat with me on POTA activations, and we're just gonna name this POTA cat.
There you go.
What do you
No,
think?
it's named Ghostbuster. No, POTA.
Oh, the cat's name is Ghostbuster.
All right. Well, Shannon's gonna have to get her own. So, all right,
I'll have
guys.
to get
Well,
my own POTA cat.
well, with that, I appreciate everybody who's hanging out in the chat there. It's great to see everybody, and thank you again for supporting us. And as always, remember, with that, if you, are activating or hunting, the goal is always simple: have fun, stay safe, and keep exploring. And until next time, keep your radios on, the PTT down,
PTT down, and POTA
and
on.
POTA on.
POTA cat.